Hey, Sunflower, how are you? How's it going? Hey, Maddie. Hey, Blue Dog, Krista, Jada. Hello. Hey, Danielle. Happy New Year to you. Hey, East Atlanta. Same to you. That's going pretty well. Hey, Crow, how are you? Same to you. Hey, Karen. Hello. Not a bad day out today. It was nice today. I think it's like 25 out or something like that, but still, I mean, for January, I'm not complaining. Hello, Karen. Hey, Kimberly. Happy New Year to you. So far, I did. Yep. I'm from Flat Rock originally, suburb of Detroit, right down the road. Hey, Shaz, how are you? Same to you. Thank you. Hey, Audrey. Oh, you like that, Kimberly? Oh, good, thanks. Hey, Don. So far, so good. Amanda's expected to make a full recovery. I haven't heard from her mother. I don't know what the deal is with that. I expected to hear from her by now. And I told her I wouldn't give any details until I did, and that was probably a week ago. And I looked for Coco for a week, and I know friends of hers looked for her for, oh, geez, a good 5 or 6 days, and nobody's seen her. Yeah, I think it's like 26 out, Chance. I didn't send Rebecca any money. No, I did not hear from her today. She probably got some from somebody else. Oh, thank you, James. Appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know what the deal. I really don't know anything at all about Coco. Same to you, Chris. That is Calvin Murray. Yeah, I am going to do some more interviews with him. Yeah, he's a good guy, really knowledgeable guy. Hey, Steven, how you doing? Oh, Sativa King, 420. How are you? How's it going? Yeah, I hope everything's okay. I mean, down there, you never know. Yeah, he's a knowledgeable guy. He's a great poet. I'm trying to get him to come up with more of his poetry. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Hey, Teresa, how you doing? Are you talking about the old Wendy or the new one? Pretty good. Thanks. No, I didn't see that, Crow. I didn't see that at all. I'll have to check that out. Why would they do that? Oh, thank you, Xavier. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Hey, Bill, how's it going? Yeah, me too, Jada. Yeah, no, I get it too sometimes. No, I'm doing all right. Yeah, I'm pretty good. My sleep's a little out of whack. I've been staying up too late instead of staying on a good schedule. A little bit tired. Did some laundry today, organized some stuff. Oh, thank you. Willina, yep. Glad you like them. Thank you. Hey, Larry. Hey, Angela. Oh, Little Rock. All right. I have been there. Yep. Sure have. I donated some stuff to the Arkansas Museum a few years back. Well, believe it or not, a lot of those bandos are actually owned by insurance companies or the city of Detroit. And with regard to the one Maddie and Gerald live in, that's right next to an occupied home, so that's a problem a lot of the time. Hey, Pamela. Yeah, Alabama beat the hell out of Michigan. It was nice to see Minnesota win. No, Daisy's got about a week's left of her old food. I still have to do that. The last couple of weeks, she's been eating roast lamb. Hey, go, Leck. How you doing? How's it going? Who's winning that Rose Bowl or won the Rose Bowl? Wisconsin pull through on that? Yeah, I feed her pretty well. Probably give her too much people food. Yeah, I'm going to get down there pretty soon. I almost went down there today, actually. But as I mentioned before, I hate like hell driving on dry pavement if I can avoid it when it's not cold out, below 32. These winter tires. Hey, Karen, how you doing? Is that a final score, Teresa? Hey, Brandy, how you doing? Oh, no kidding, huh? Yeah, it's kind of consistent with Wisconsin's year. I would have liked to see Wisconsin win. Tell you, it shows you the big. Well, it's not the Big Ten anymore. They call it the Big Ten, but it's actually like what is it, the Giant 17 now? It's really not a very strong conference. Oh yeah, it was a nice day that day. Yep, walking around. Oh, hello, Flat Earth. How you doing? Yeah, you can't beat the weather. You don't have any snow on the ground down there, do you, James? Hey, Rodian, how are you? Welcome. Yeah, even Anchorage, Alaska was pretty warm, 46 yesterday. That's kind of a myth, you know, when you're near the water, like Anchorage is, you don't get that crazy cold like you do in the interior Alaska, like Fairbanks. I don't know if any of you have been to Alaska, but if you ever get a chance, try and get up there. It's truly the last frontier. I've been everywhere in Alaska, all the way down through the Aleutian Islands, the very top, west, south, east, you name it. Hey, Elaine. Thank you, Coker. Same to you. I did. Yep, Larry sure did. Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think we've got, I would say 4 inches on the ground, maybe five. Not that much. Could be a lot worse. We really weren't supposed to get that much snow. If it had been a degree warmer, we wouldn't have got any of it. And if it had been a degree colder, we'd have got a lot more. It rained like hell for 2 days before we got the snow. Yeah, bend over. That's so ridiculous, man. Prince George, British Columbia. All right. Oh, East Michigan Avenue. Yeah, that's a really neat area, man. It really is. The look, particularly in the evening, as the sun gets behind you and you head downtown, it just lights up that whole downtown beautifully. You know, down Michigan Avenue, the view towards downtown is fantastic. It's the same with the view from Sunset Point on Belle Isle. It's really beautiful. No, it's pretty strange. You know who that is, don't you, Teresa? Yep. I mean, that's like something you'd do if you were 16 years old. Yeah, it's so childish. Yep. Oh, that's good, Samantha. That's cool. Oh, thank you, Kimberly. Hey, sexy, how you doing? How's it going? Yeah, you're right, Larry. Yep. Hey, Steven, how you doing? Yeah, we didn't really do much, you know, kind of screwed around today. Went to Tim Hortons and did a little reading and came home, did some laundry, organized some stuff. Oh, thank you, Tish. Appreciate it. Just kind of a hobby, you know. I'm just down there doing photography anyway, you know. Oh, same to you, Mark. Thank you. Mark, there's a guy on there. It's Blue Dog Beagle, something like that. Blue Dog Beagle. If you type in MU2, that's my favorite airplane, actually. They've got those old Garrett engines on them. I got to ride in one time. It's a heck of an airplane. Killed a ton of pilots. But look at it. I think it's Blue Dog Eagle, or just put in MU2 and the name will come up soon. He's only got 4 or 5 videos up, but he's flying that Part 91. He's flying for a corporation down in Alabama. And I really love his videos, and he's going to be putting up a lot more. So check that out. If you can't find it, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Blue Dog Beagle. Oh, really sexy. Huh. Tim Hortons is a Canadian outfit. Well, it's not anymore, but started out as a Canadian coffee shop. They have donuts and stuff. I like going there because I like the way the counter's set up and I can look out the window. And it's just perfect. And their coffee's hot. Oh, thank you, Flat Earth Preacher. Appreciate it. Hey, Tammy, how you doing? Hey, Harry. Oh, yeah. Glad you like it. Yeah, I hope to be doing that a lot more. Yeah, the Tim Hortons never really took off in the United States like they thought. Canada, there's one on every corner. Yeah, hot coffee's hard to get. Nobody has enough guts to serve it at 206. Oh, thank you, Harry. Same to you. Appreciate it. Kimberly, did you go over and get a Captain Nemo sub today? Kimberly, did you ever eat at that barbecue place down there? I think it's in Sumter Township. It's not far from Belleville. They advertise in a big billboard barbecue place. Just wonder if it's any good. Yeah, I'll post a link to that, Coker. Yeah, he's a hockey player, yeah. He was on here a couple days ago, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they're all over the place. I don't really care for I rarely get donuts. And I think their coffee's okay. I'd rather have Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but McDonald's coffee is good, but they don't serve it hot enough. And you can't get a big enough one either. Hey, Jacksonville, how are you? How's it going? How you been hanging in there? Hey, Jenny, how are you? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, though. Oh, you like that, Tammy? Yeah, I caught a couple of them. I don't want to say anything negative about them. They're trying to start their own channel. I tried to explain to him what works and what doesn't, and they'll cancel his channel if he keeps that up. I mean, he wants to be a rapper. He doesn't understand that his bread and butter would be just the daily lives of him and Maddie. Oh, good, Jeff. Oh, a lot of stress, I know. Yeah, no, I can't believe it, Larry. A couple of people emailed me today and told me, but I don't really pay too much attention to that, to tell you the truth. I mean, I guess you get a plaque. I'm going to give it to Sherry. She asked if she could have it. Now, I don't know if it's true or not, but evidently you get a phone number where you can contact YouTube directly. I hope that's true because that would be worth everything rather than go through the rigmarole and someone stalking you and harassing you, making channels against you and that kind of thing. So if that's true, I'm really looking forward to it. But other than that, nothing's changed. I don't know the name of it, Kimberly, because I never I can't really think. It's not even on the tip of my tongue. Hey, 29, how are you? Oh, thank you. Oh, Memphis, that's a great town. Go down to Tunica. I used to hang around that area a lot. Go to Memphis in the weekends. They have those summer barbecue fests that are fantastic. Memphis is high crime, though. You got to watch yourselves down there. They're always getting shootings down there on Beale Street. So be careful. It's a nice town, though. A play button? What is that? What is that, Larry? Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, you got to kind of seek that out to see where you're at. I don't really know. I know it's close because people email me. Yeah, Larry, I'd like to take credit for it, but it's the almighty algorithm. Hey, Ruben, how are you? Hello, Stacy. What is a silver play button? What is that? What is it, like a little plaque or something? Sherry wants it. I'm going to give it to her. Is it just like does it go on your channel and you contact them? What is a play button? Hey, Tweety, how you doing? Oh, a framed award. Oh, okay. Yeah, it doesn't affect me, to tell you the truth. Oh, wall hanging. Okay. Oh, thank you, Nicole. Yeah, I'll find out. I'll take a picture of it for you. A plaque and a play button, huh? Yeah, Sherry wanted it for some reason, which I don't have a problem with. Well, you get a golden. Oh, well, that'll probably never happen. I bet reaching 100,000 is luckier than reaching a million. Oh, okay, Don. Yeah, Detroit's cool, interesting. People ask, why am I going to go to any other cities? Probably not. It's too much stuff to do in Detroit. Diamond at 10 million. Wow, Ruby 50 million. I'd be dead by then. As long as I got 1,000 where I can come on and do a chat here and there, that's fine with me. Hey, Cece, how you doing? No, there are people on there, I guess, that have it. Sometimes I'll be flipping through the channels and they'll be talking about people that make like 2 million a month and stuff like that on YouTube. It's nuts. I mean, you guys are probably, some of you guys will probably, if you do your own channel, it'll happen to you too. You just, once you get a couple of videos that take off, I mean, 98% of my videos, nobody watches. As soon as you get one recommended, you're home free. All right, Jada. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? Yeah, PewDiePie. He got in some kind of beef with YouTube and was looking at another platform for a while. I don't know if they got that worked out or what. How did that one guy's dog ever turn out? Does anybody know? Oh, glad you like him, Harry. Oh, good. You should try him where you live, you know? Yeah, there was something going on with him, Larry. He was looking at another platform. Hey, Elena. You getting close to 100, Jesse? That a girl. I had like 25 subscribers for what seemed like eternity. Oh, that's good, man. Oh, D Live, okay. Oh, all right. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Same to you. Yeah, I mean, Kimberly, honestly, I haven't really done anything different than when I first started. I'm going to print some, what I'm going to do is get a better camera and print some large format, like 24 by 36 portraits. You know, if people agree to it and work out a deal with them. And I think it'd be kind of fun. I mean, I mentioned this yesterday, and that is, I mean, even a person like Marguerite is very remarkable looking. You know, streets, that life just does something to a person. Oh, Windsor, Ontario. You familiar with Ted Boomer Netters? Guy that used to put on the Blues Fest? Oh, is that right, Tweety? Oh, that's good, I guess. Same to you, Coker. Thank you. So, even Rebecca, I'd like to get some good shots for Rebecca. I'll tell you, I think those, I should have thought of it the other day, but I was already kind of burned out from being down there so long and not having a very good trip. But when I interviewed all those men, where I got those men interviews, I wish I had photographed those guys. It was a perfect day. I had the stuff with me. I just didn't think of it. Teresa, just block them. I mean, whoever it is, they have the IP address and the MAC address. I mean, I think people are safer now than they've ever been. Hey, Mary, how you doing? Yeah, same to you here. Yeah, I think it would be cool. And there's some other people. I think Calvin would be a great guy to photograph, Calvin Murray, and all of them really. I wish you guys lived up here because I haven't practiced in a while. I need some people to practice on. And, you know, people think you're a weirdo if you said, "Hey, I'm starting with photography. Can I take some pictures of you?" Think you're some kind of freak, Hannibal Lecter. Yeah, actually, they don't look bad. I mean, some of them have just gotten older. You know, Marguerite was a super attractive woman when she was younger. Oh, thanks, Kimberly. Yeah. I don't know if YouTube's still on that 1,000 subscriber thing before people can have a chat or not. Hey, Illinois Farmer, how are you? Well, the birds been really going through the food. Man, I never do those resolutions. I haven't seen Lacey. No, last couple trips, I have not seen her. Wouldn't be surprised if she could be locked up. Lacey's not one of the girls that you see a lot walking either. At least that's my experience. 9 more subs. How many does Jesse have now? Oh, okay, 29. Oh, yeah, it's a nice day out, Kimberly. Yeah, well, we really don't have too much. No, I guess the UP up near Whitefish Point got killed, and they're still having problems with those high winds. I haven't heard from T-Dot lately. No. Are you talking about Gerald and Maddie, Samantha? Hey, Shaniqua, how you doing? How's it going? Yeah, they don't really have, they were, they were had like hundreds of trees that were blown over. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw a couple of his videos. He asked me, you know, how I thought he should do it, and I told him, but I guess he didn't take heed. Yeah, you know how it is. A young guy wants to be a rapper. Oh, hey, thank you, Alex. Thank you. Yeah, it is very. Yeah, right. Yeah, it's true, Virginia. Yep. Gerald. Yep. Must be a rapper. Yeah. You good girl. Hey, Lane, you can Virginia. Sure. You guys going to be on here for a little while? Jesse, I want to upload some still photos. Hey, Willie, how you doing? Welcome. Okay, good. I'm going to do that right now, then, so I won't be on. Thank you. Hey, Cable, how you doing? Pretty good. Who are you talking about, Jesse? Oh, okay, John's mom. That's all right. I don't think so. Oh, thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. No, Jesse, it's not. No, it's not. Hey, ceiling fan, how you doing? Amanda's going to make a full recovery. I expected to hear from her mother by now, and I have not. So I can't give you all the details, but I can tell you she's expected to make a full recovery. Hey, Darky, how you doing? Hey, Steffi. Hey, ceiling fan, how you doing? Pretty good. Just really didn't do much. Oh, thank you, Zadie. I appreciate it. Wow, 80. That's too hot for me. Yeah, but what is he saying? He's just asking you what? I mean, what's the problem here? I scrolled back and look at the comments. Whoa, what problem are you having exactly? Hey, Katie, how you doing? I mean, he says, "What, Teresa?" and you act like you're getting trolled. In what kind of way? I mean, is this that big a deal? Hey, Larry, how you doing? Yeah, I'll be down there in this week, maybe next week for sure. Yeah, I saw that on label. I read that today. Yeah, she picked a pretty good place. Alpina's dead, though, to be honest with you. I mean, as a waitress, I guess it wouldn't matter, but oh, thank you, man. Congratulations. Yeah, I realize what a feat that is to quit. Definitely, yeah, harder than anything I've ever done. Oh, that sounds good, Steffi. Yeah, I don't like him. Same to you, Robin. Yeah, good for you, man. Congratulations. Ah, so, Jesse. If I never ate a piece of turkey again, it'd be too soon. Old dried up bird. You ever eat at the turkey roost down there in Colin? Hey, Nobly, how are you? The boxing, interesting. Huh. Oh, you know it, Katie. Yeah, it's very difficult. A&W, all right. Hey, Nobly. No kidding, Stephanie. Wow. Yeah, Turkey Roost down in Call. It's like a famous place. Oh, that's good, Teresa. Yeah, she's still in an early stage, so best of luck to her. Oh, good, Slab City. Good. Yeah, heroin, man. Honestly, I can't think of anything worse. I think it's by far. I think the government should forget about everything else and just pursue heroin. The cost to society is staggering, especially when you consider the failure rate of rehab with addicts. It's just a broken system. It costs the taxpayers a fortune, which kind of gets spread out. It's like trading in a car. You really don't know how screwed you got because it's all on paper. Really though, there seems to be a link with all these people with regard to trying the drug to begin with. So even though it's the opioid that nails you, there's a reason why you tried that when you knew what the consequences were going to be. That's the bigger issue. Same to you, Happy. Absolutely right, MM. I agree with you. Yeah, I mean that should just send out bullhorn warnings to society. Oh, I've heard that before too, Zadie. Yeah, I believe that, MM. Yeah, yep. Yeah, Steffi. Yep. Yeah, you're right, Katie. Desperation is right. Yeah, Steffi, she could turn that around with the right motivation. That's no kidding, MM. You're right. Yeah, it's subtle. It just is a slight, slow, subtle transition. Nobody ever thinks they're going to end up there. The bigger issue, Cable, like in regard to what? Like, what I said, depression. It's a mental illness. And mental illness is vague, but I haven't run into anybody yet that wasn't aware of what the ramifications of trying heroin would be. They knew there were plenty of examples out there. They knew where they had to go to buy it. They knew other people that had taken it. They knew the disaster story. And for someone to voluntarily inject themselves with something that they knew at the time was going to ruin their life is interesting to me. And that's the biggest problem. Everybody knows why you continue to do it. It's why you tried it to begin with. It's the thing that I think needs to be examined the most. There's something going on there, whether it's insecurity, escaping from something, chronic depression, abuse, childhood trauma. And I'm sure that's not all of it. There are incidents out there. I'll give Becky as an example. Now, Becky claims she had an ideal childhood. Thank you, Richard. Childhood experience with regard to the life she lived as a child. No trauma, good parents. So I don't think it's 100% accurate. There's something there all the time. I think you can still become a heroin addict and come from a good family. I mean, there's genetic predisposition, blah, blah, blah. It's a moving target. It's not like one size fits all. And I'm more interested in why people tried it, knowing what the outcome was going to be. It's not like there's a bunch of successful heroin addicts walking around. Yeah, that's a tough one to pin down, those. And, it's really annoying to me that these rehabs are open arms. And I think I don't really know. I don't want to just spout off without any factual data, but even some of these places like Sacred Heart, I mean, I'm not really sure how they're funded, but I would assume that a lot of these women that Sacred Heart is reimbursed through Medicaid. And I don't know what the rate is. I'm sure it's much lower than if somebody had to pay. But the recidivism rate is just, through the roof. I mean, it's like there's too much left up to the person to be successful in the circle of rehab. I mean, their batting average sucks. Now, I can't really say what it should be, but man, when you talk to people that have been to the same rehab 20 times, I'd love to know more about it. There's people that go to rehab once and do well, and there's people that go to rehab 20 times and it doesn't do anything for them. It's just difficult. It's an individual assessment. Yeah, I got diagnosed. Another thing too, I was thinking about tonight. If you look at the DSM-5 now, I mean, for people that are familiar with mental illness, it's basically a book that was categorized and came up with definitions for insurance purposes. But if you look at mental illness in general, it isn't like that definitive. I think there's like a crossover with a lot of it. Chronic depression, bipolar, that kind of thing. And one kind of moves into the other sometimes. And that's what kind of sticks out to me with most of the people that I talk to. I mean, there are people that had a great start in life that still became heroin addicts. And that's the interesting part of it. And you can understand childhood trauma, But how about the person that had it made? But that's their own interpretation of having it made. It just doesn't make sense that someone on their own volition would become a heroin addict. Yeah, that's it, Dead Love. It just kind of sneaks up on you. Yeah, 26 times. Yeah. No, there's no shortage of examples that way. It's almost like society says, well, let's try rehab because it's better than nothing. I just don't know enough about it to know what could be improved. Well, CC, the doctors, let me tell you, if you look back in 1996, 1998, the federal government came to physicians because they were lobbied by insurance companies and said that you're not adequately treating pain properly. And what that was based on was pain and suffering awards that were given out in jury trials across the country. These insurance companies were getting their ass handed to them for pain and suffering. So the federal government got on the medical community and said you needed to treat pain more properly. So that's kind of how the opioid issue came to light. And now here all this time goes by, and 20 plus years, now they're blaming the doctors when it was the federal government that got on them about not giving enough medication to treat pain. So it's a catch-22. Yeah, MM, I want you to read up about that. Look like I can get you more data on it if you can't find it, but look in the mid 96, 98, where the federal government went to the medical community based on lobbyists. Yeah, it's funny, it's not talked about. They're blaming the doctors now. And as everybody knows, I'm sure there are doctors that you could blame easily, but there are also doctors out there that were following protocol. Interesting, Katie. Yeah. Katie, how long ago was that? I would be surprised if that could happen now. Yeah, sexy. I wouldn't call yourself that. I mean, look, it's in the infancy stage with regard to how people get where they're at. You know, I've had my own problems with mental illness, so I don't think I'm that much different than the women that I interview, minus the drugs, and I don't have anything to sell. So that really is kind of my interest in it. I refer to it as my hobby, but I identify with all these people. That's true, Zadie. Yeah, yeah. That's exactly it, Cece. Yeah, yeah. Let me give you an example. I got a buddy of mine that happens to be an osteopath. Okay, good guy. Probably the smartest guy I've ever met in my life. Really smart guy. His dad was an osteopath. His brother was an osteopath. I mean, this guy is just an absolute fanatic about doing the right thing for his patients. And there's a guy that he's friends with. I don't know, for the people that live around Metro Detroit, you remember when that guy was busted for the big opioid epidemic down around the Tri-County area? Well, the doctor that was from here, he's a neurologist. His last name is Zahor, Zahor. Everybody in that case pleaded guilty, but Zahor, and at the time a guy from Ohio, a physician. I don't know if he's since pled guilty or not. But my buddy swears up and down that this Zahor is the straightest, most honest guy in the world. Neurologists treat people for pain. He moved from where I live, West Branch, down to around the Troy area, needed a job, and took a job at this facility, which ended up being one of the companies that got indicted. Now, this guy has fought this tooth and nail all the way. I think he's the only guy out there. There may be another one that hasn't pled guilty. And the reason that he's not pleading guilty is because he didn't have anybody to tell on. And he claims that he was only doing what he did to treat pain. I hate to say it, but I believe him. But in the meantime, his medical career has been absolutely ruined. He's lost his hospital privileges. The DEA has stripped his ability to be able to write prescriptions. And the federal government hasn't taken him to trial, but they also haven't dropped the charges, despite him telling them he didn't know anything. So this guy is really in a pickle. He's working bullshit jobs, even though he's a physician. His name's been ruined. The feds haven't taken this to trial, and they also haven't offered him any deal. What happens when the feds indict you is the deals that they offer you are basically a guarantee that your career's ruined. So the only thing you can really do if you're innocent or you believe you're innocent is to take it to trial. I know this guy spent about $400,000 so far. And look, physicians make pretty good money. Up here about $350, $400. A couple of the orthopods make $800,000 a year. But try coming up with $400,000 after-tax dollars if you're living in a decent house with decent cars and you're sending kids to college. This guy's life has been ruined. If I had to bet on it, I'd give you 2-to-1 odds he's innocent. But once the feds lock horns with you, man, you're screwed. Oh my God, I know it, Davey. When I was doing a lot of surveillance down around Indiana, down around Napanee, there was a ophthalmologist and his wife. Long story short, they became like professional dancers. They would travel the country and they were well known, good people. He was indicted for Medicare fraud, and they claimed that he claimed that he was railroaded. It was bullshit. The charges were legitimate. I don't know if they were or they were not, but I do know this. Him and his wife went to the office one night and wrote a 4-page suicide letter. He shot her between the eyes and shot himself. And he said that even if he'd have been acquitted, his life was ruined. He'd lost his hospital privileges. Of course, when you lose your hospital privileges and your DEA and your ability to write prescriptions, you might as well be an auto mechanic. And boy, that really stuck in my mind. That was probably 15, 20 years ago. And even though they say innocent till proven guilty, I had a private detective buddy of mine indicted by the feds back about 25 years ago. And I actually went with him while we talked to different attorneys that were going to represent him. And it was $50,000 down then with federal charges. The feds have the best resources of anyone. Even if you're innocent, you better have a big bankroll to be able to get out of there unscathed, which very few people do. When the feds put their bullseye on you. Now, look, I think that most of their charges are legitimate. It's great that they do what they do, but there are exceptions. And sometimes in a big fish net, like with this Dr. Zahor down in the Tri-County area, you can get charged with everybody else because they don't really know what you know. And it seems to me sometimes they assume that you know things, even though you may not know anything. And that's what my buddy swears has happened to this particular guy. And your life as a physician after all these years, particularly in a specialty like a neurologist or an ophthalmologist, just the virtue of getting indicted, you're basically done. And even though it's sad that the doctor shot his wife and killed himself, in a way, it's hats off to him for coming to his senses, because he was smart enough to realize that his career was over either way. Oh, thank you, Satch. I mean, honestly, I don't care about the 100,000. I mean, it's nobody is more surprised than me that people like what I do. I mean, my videos sat around forever. Nobody watched them. I just thought it was interesting and cool. So, I mean, I've thought about this, and It's almost like that I should do something better than I've done because of this. I never thought in a million years anybody that had my same interests. I mean, I've had huge problems with depression, and for a long time, uh, the only thing I did was drive down to Detroit, drive all hours of the night, taking photographs and doing video, despite nobody ever watching any of them. It was, I can't explain it. So honestly, crazy as it sounds, I owe Detroit something. And I identify with the women with regard to mental illness. I was locked up in a couple psychiatric hospitals myself. So I get it. I'm reluctant to give depression credit for anything, but I think it gave me insight into why I do what I do. I pass it off as a hobby, but there's more to it than that. I mean, I take it a day at a time. That's why with Becky and Tassie and even everybody really, Kelly, I get it. I really do. No, I was lucky when I got locked up. I had better insurance than I have now. I still ended up just paying off a couple of my bills this summer. Um, the ambulance ride was like a 190-mile ride, at $6 a mile or some shit. I just paid that off because it was out of network, and I had to pay all sorts of co-pays. And I got them paid off, but it took a while. So, I mean, that's really the crux of, I think, why I have an interest in what I do. I don't think I'm any different than anybody that I interview. I really don't. I mean, I can remember coming to the point where, honestly, I can remember I was hardcore, super depressed for 12 years. And I can remember when it came down to it that I remember thinking, I can't believe this. Like Jessie said, she never thought she'd be poking herself with a needle. I remember thinking, I am going absolutely crazy. This is what happens in how people react when they plan on killing themselves. I just could, it seemed surreal. It just seemed like, man, I am here right now. So believe me, I'm constantly thinking of things that I can do better. That's why I never take credit for anything that I do. I haven't really done anything. If someone needed something, I'd be glad to help them out. But I haven't done anything really. I really haven't. I would like to, but I'm just like a baby getting into this. I read what I can and I talk to the people. And well, I'll tell you, I trade everything to help any of them. Yeah, it's difficult, Davey. I mean, I take it a day at a time. I don't think that it couldn't happen to me again. That I'm very understanding and empathetic about people, and I identify 100% with a pretty young woman that ends up selling herself on Michigan Avenue or 4th Street. I don't look down on them at all. The only difference between me and them is I don't have anything to sell. I'm just an old white guy that's a male. But the thinking's the same. Oh, that's true, Davey. That's for sure. It was so weird when I was at the worst, absolute worst that I could be. I would drive down to Detroit and go into those abandoned buildings like the Packard plant and the Fisher Body and community hospital and just walk around, and it was the only thing that made me feel better. So weird. There's one video I did in Delray one night when it was snowing, and I said all lit up and there's no words. It was a big billboard that was lit up and it was blank, and it just kind of summed up what Delray was like at the time. So nutty as it sounds, Detroit, when it was at its worst, did me a big favor because I had nothing else to do. Yeah, it's true. State of mind. Yep. I mean, when I would go down there for a while there, for at least a solid year. I mean, you look at all the videos I have, it's like I was just driving around thinking, man, if I get killed, so what? I was getting in arguments with guys all the time at party stores. I could have cared less if I ran into somebody in one of those buildings. It didn't mean anything. I caution people that want to go through empty buildings about stepping through holes in the floor where they've stole the motors and different parts of machinery. Shit, man, at the time, I could have cared less about that. If a cop came up and gave me a ticket for being inside a vacant building, big deal. I mean, when you're that low and in the depths of depression, I could have gave two shits. I was in the Fisher body plant one night and they threatened to let these dogs loose, and I could have cared less. They never did. But in a weird, twisted way, man, when you're that down and you're that depressed, I think blighted Detroit for what it did for me, or I probably wouldn't be talking to you. Yeah, don't give a shit about anything. Yep, 90 miles an hour for no reason. Believe me, I could have cared less. I mean, cared less for real, not just like seeking attention or trying to get someone to feel sorry for you. Or, believe me, it was 100% solo. Well, yeah, I was on all the medications. I tried them all, man. They just, at the time, they didn't really do anything. One of the biggest problems I had, and I would have thought that one of these places, I went to Cleveland Clinic, University of Michigan, Wayne State, anywhere that would see me, I would go. And one of my biggest problems, and you'd have thought somebody would have figured this out, was I bet there was an 8-year period where I bet I didn't sleep 2 or 3 hours a night. Yeah, and that, I think that's what drove me nuts. I got locked up in Traverse City for a while. I knew that was a complete waste of time. You know, in a way, I got lucky because when I got locked up in Traverse City, there was this. I mean, I only say gay guy, not that I have any problems with gays. I don't. I've known tons of gays. I've administrated the states of 2 gay guys I was friends with that died. I don't give a shit. I only mention it because it will help you get an idea what this guy was like. And he was always wearing pink suits, and he was a really friendly guy. He was a Wayne State grad, and I knew the second day when I was in Traverse City that there's no way in hell I was going to get any better there. Sure enough, it was just a brain-numbing experience. I can remember looking at the air conditioning units on the top of the roof, and I thought, when I get out of here, I'm going to finish myself off for sure. And that's when, you know, a while later, about a week later, I couldn't wait to get out of there to finish myself off. I got run off the road by a SWAT team in Gaylord and got sent up to the Upper Peninsula. And there was kind of like a silver lining for me. I met a good psychiatrist and got on the right medication. You know, I don't think I'll ever be 100%, but I'm still alive. And if it wasn't for my estranged wife, I would definitely not be around. I mean, I don't get choked up to getting close with offing myself. But if it wasn't for her, I definitely wouldn't be talking to you. No way. So I'm very sensitive and empathetic to anybody that ends up in situations that they never dreamed they would. And prostitution and heroin addiction is one of them. Yeah, that's what I thought. I can remember thinking, Frederick, that I'm on a runaway train. I remember thinking, I'm on a runaway train and there's not a damn thing that I can do about it. I remember thinking, I am going to end up killing myself. It got to the point where suicide was like attractive. I just couldn't imagine living like to my 70s or something, being this depressed. There's nothing I could do about it. How you doing? I mean, I used to think of all sorts of crazy shit. But those days in Delray in the middle of the night, and I was living up here at the time, what ended up helping was suicide attempts, two of them. Well, I should say one of them. Three of them, actually. And the third one is where I got run off the road by some cops. I have a video uploaded on that if you search my channel. Because there's no sense, no good ever comes out of hiding. Look, I tell it like it is. I mean, I'm not bragging about it, but that's what happened. And I think that it really helped me a lot in a lot of ways. Man, I got on that medication the first night, and the next day I felt better. I mean, I was just a total vegetable for really about 15 years. Oh yeah, those nights are brutal, is right. You better believe it. Man, I'd drop the cap off the toothpaste and not want to pick it up. Laundry is another example. Laundry, when you're depressed, laundry is just seems like the biggest clusterfuck there ever was. First of all, you've got to gather the clothes. You've got to take them and you've got to put them in a washer. You've got to go buy soap. You've got to wait for the washer to end. You got to put them in the dryer. I mean, when you're depressed, this shit is just like monumental. You've got to get them out of the dryer, and then God forbid you got to hang this shit up. It's just doing laundry is like climbing the Empire State Building when you're chronically depressed. Dishes stacked up, doing the bare minimum with my dog, just like doctor's appointments. Everything was like monumental. You don't have the energy to do anything. Just like eating like the easiest thing, like maybe canned chili, and heating it up was too much. Yeah, mail, forget it. No way. Mail was like a nightmare. I can remember I would pay my bills once a month and just think, God, man, I hope I can get it together enough to pay them 30 days from now. It sucks. Oh, bathing. That's exactly it. Bathing. You don't feel like taking a shower, but you don't really give a shit because it's not like you got a relationship with anybody. You're just living around like an animal. I mean, the only difference between me and Gerald and Maddie was that I had my own house. Otherwise, it would have been the same shit laying all over, not knowing up from down. Terrible, man. I can't believe that I made it out of it, to tell you the truth. If it wouldn't have been for my estranged wife, there is no way I'd be around. I mean, honestly, no way. I actually chipped a tooth putting a shotgun barrel in my mouth. And I mean, I've never done drugs. I never had an alcohol problem, nothing. I ended up. This was the first time in Traverse City. So I thought, it takes a lot of whatever to kill yourself. So the second time, I had some a prescription of benzodiazepines, and I took them just like they said. And this is embarrassing, but I'll tell you anyway. I took them like they told me to, and I thought, well, I got to kill myself for sure. I just cannot live with this depression anymore. So I drove around for a week. I went down to where I run Daisy in that park. I kept looking for like the perfect place. I tried hanging myself and I hurt my neck. So I knew I couldn't do that. I didn't want to do the carbon monoxide thing. So I bought a shotgun and I drove up and tried to do it, just couldn't do it. So I ended up having some benzodiazepines that I had, and I just took what I had left, which wasn't that much, but there was a bunch of powder in the bottom of the jar. So what happened is I was up in Leelanau County, up near Traverse City, and I thought, well, if I don't take these, more than like the pill that I take to be, anxiety free, then I'm never going to have enough balls to do this. I ended up taking these pills, and I had a shotgun, and I remember putting in my mouth. Like I said, I chipped my tooth, and how I didn't blow my head off then is a miracle. And I thought during this time that I would drive up and buy a friend of mine a T-shirt at the lighthouse. So I did that. And by the time I got back, I never felt like, God, I shouldn't be driving, or I'm too high to drive. Believe me, not at all. I would never do something to endanger somebody on the road. Well, long story short, I get back there. I figure I'm going to do this, and I have friends call me, and they knew something was up and asked me if I wanted to go get dinner with them in Traverse City. So I ended up getting in my van, which I don't remember. Honest to God, I don't remember this. I ran into some cars in the parking lot of the lighthouse. Then I drove around 10 miles down the road, and I ran into some more cars that were parallel parked. And that's when the sheriff ran me off the road, and I got locked up in Traverse City. I didn't remember any of it. Nothing. I remember a little bit of talking to the cop, and I was given a sobriety test. And he said to me, I remember asking him how I'm doing. And he said, not very well. So I got locked up there for a while. And then as I said, that was just a big waste of time. So I thought that when I get out of here, I'm going to definitely kill myself because, I fucked up my driving record. God knows what's going to come out of this. This is just a damn babysitting clinic. I'm just drugged up. So I waited a week and tried it again. And on the second time, I was, as you guys know, I have a place down in Florida and own a bed and breakfast. And it was like 3:00 in the morning, and I called my wife up and said, hey, look, I'm tired of this bullshit. I can't take it. She called the cops. The cops went over to my house. I wasn't there. They tracked my cell phone, but because of the triangulation, they really couldn't figure out where I was at. So they never found me. So what happened, it was 3 a.m. I was up in Gaylord. I was cold, and I got in there. I knew 2 people that killed themselves up in Whitefish Point. And I thought maybe if I drive all night, I'll be tired when I get up there and I'll have enough balls to do this. Now, this was after the Traverse City deal. So I had a shotgun, and it was unloaded, and I had it in the back of the van, and I got off at the McDonald's in Gaylord and got a Happy Meal, believe it or not. And as I went to get back on the expressway, a cop had recognized my plate, and they ran me off the road into the Burger King parking lot. And I was transported to Kinchlow in the Upper Peninsula. And the first day I started feeling better, and I wanted to make sure I didn't leave there until I was already feeling good, and I actually stayed longer than I was supposed to because I wanted to make sure that they did the proper titration. I knew that if I got out of there and wasn't, on the right track, that I was screwed. Sure enough. Now, I've had a few low points since then, but I'm doing way better. And if that wouldn't have happened, I think it would have been lights out. But if any of you guys out there have ever been faced with suicide, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now I take 7.5 milligrams of Remeron to sleep. And that seems to do the trick, believe it or not. I originally was diagnosed as bipolar, and then they said just chronic depression. And believe it or not, I get by on 7.5 milligrams of Remeron. Now, I do have my times here and there. I mean, and I do think, I mean, I'll go to my grave with having certain issues. I'm a total loner. I don't want a girlfriend. I mean, I got some issues, believe me. I don't date. You'll never see me with anybody. That's why it seems like, you know, when I tell people I don't want to hang around with them, I don't want to be rude, but I don't. I do my own thing, and that's so coming up on 100,000 subscribers. There you have it. That's why, because believe me, I'm on the same page as everybody down there selling themselves on heroin, just in a different way. I reference shit luck all the time. I was lucky. There were a couple of things that lined up and could have just easily went the other way. And, you know, I didn't need any motivation to try to do the right thing with people that I felt I crossed paths with that struggled with depression. I had all the motivation I ever needed, but I can function now, and I couldn't function before. I was a damn vegetable for damn near 15 years. Yeah, I got lucky. Yeah, you know, with mental illness, it doesn't really bode well for relationships. Like if you say, I still tell people I have a hot head sometimes. I mean, when I was young, I mean, I was really into aggression, which is not good. Boxing, kickboxing. I'm still kind of that way, and I'm older now. I spent a lot of time learning that kind of stuff, and I still can have a very explosive temper, no problem. I mean, I was freaking out tonight over some stupid shit because I couldn't get a damn software program to work. So, you know, I'm not symptom free, believe me. I ask my neighbors all the time, they must think I'm an absolute lunatic. I mean, that kook that started a channel to try to get rid of mine taped one of my damn lives where I was freaking out. And I was freaking out because the FedEx had a part-time driver, and she left a whole box of books on my front step during a rainstorm because she forgot about them. I'm still going through them with regard to a claim, and I absolutely freaked out. I know I overreact, so I'm not saying that someone can't kick my ass or put a bullet through my head when I'm down in Detroit, but I'm telling you, I got a lot of experience in stuff like that, and that's why people say, are you scared? And maybe I'm just too stupid to be scared, but when I'm down around 4th Street, Kelly's talking to me, or I'm down on Michigan Avenue, it doesn't bother me a bit. I'm not going to lay down for everybody, and I'm not intimidated by any of that kind of stuff. I really am not. I'm not bragging like I'm some tough guy, but I joke with people all the time for 2 minutes. I'm just as good now as I was when I was 20. Yeah, it's you know, anxiety is kind of a cousin to depression. You know, I didn't realize it, but I look back in my life and I could I could probably give you 10 times when I had an anxiety attack. I didn't realize that that's what I was having at the time. And believe me, I'd take whatever they had. Shit, man, open arms, no problem. I just can't believe that this old cheap medication, Remeron, has done what it's done for me. I took trazodone for a while and a couple other antidepressants. It really didn't seem to help. It was the sleep issue was the biggest one. Well, the problem with, I don't want to say it's a problem. Wellbutrin takes a while to learn. So it's body chemistry, Jesse. They use Wellbutrin for a couple of things. For people to quit smoking and for people to lose weight. Wellbutrin was kind of a stimulant, which is odd. I hate to say it, but usually they'll want to see you in 3 weeks to a month because an appointment any sooner than that will, you're just there too early. You know what I mean? When I tried Wellbutrin in the past, and I was super aggressive, I wanted to kick everybody's ass over everything. So it didn't really work for me. It's amazing that there's probably something else I should be on too, but I'm getting by pretty well. And as far as the videos and my channel, I mean, there is a silver lining to all this, and that is that I just am absolutely floored that this hobby that I have, that all came out of what I describe as mental illness, actually created a venue for followers. It's shocking to me. Seriously, because really, if you're objective and you look at my content, it's a little different. It's, interviewing prostitutes. I never even call them that, working girls and heroin addicts, and driving around vacant, crime-infested, dilapidated neighborhoods. Nuts. It's a direct relationship. I can't really connect the dots 100%. And, I think when you do something good, you should be anonymous and humble. And I try to do whatever I can. If there's somebody that I know of that is suffering from what I think is depression, and I have to, I'll pay for their doctor's appointment and their medication because I get it. I mean, depression's it's terrible. I mean, when you consider death over that, it's a problem. It's not normal to want to end your life. It's my parents were both a couple of nut jobs. I mean, it makes sense that I ended up this way. I was always a problem child, a bad student. I barely graduated from high school. My mother was very popular where I lived. She worked at a drugstore and just had the gift of gab, and she was on the council, and she actually was responsible for getting me graduated from high school because I flunked government and I had a 1.6 grade point average. And then I got lucky. I went to same to you, Breezy Girl, went to a junior college and transferred to a 4-year school. I'm just not a student, to be honest with you. I mean, anything, even my pilot's license, it took me forever to get my pilot's license. And even though I love planes, I'm telling you, man, it's that attention deficit disorder. You wouldn't believe the bullshit I went through to get a college degree and a pilot's license. It was 1,000 times harder for me to get that than it was like a smart kid from a normal environment. It took me forever. And even stuff that I like photography and stuff like this, I hate the technical aspect of it, of learning that bullshit, particularly editing programs. I just can't believe that anybody in this world would ever ask me advice about uploading a video to YouTube. It's like I shouldn't know one thing about YouTube or a computer. It just doesn't make any sense. It's just nuts. I've been shit lucky. I just kind of stumbled into something that worked for me. I don't know why, because I'm not like a technical guy or anything. That's why I tell people, anybody that's starting a channel or you're trying to get your 1,000 subscribers or any of that bullshit, I tell people, anybody wanting to promote their own channel and get it going, put a link in every video that I have for your channel. I'll approve it. It's no problem. Be glad to. I just got lucky. You do find that titration, which is the amount of medication that they decide to give you, that's the tricky part. You can be on, let's say, 50 milligrams and thinking this medication sucks, when you really need 45, but it takes a while to get there, you know? That's true, probably, Stephanie. Yeah. I've always been a big nature nut, you know? Yeah, that's true. It's no judgment. I don't, it's just such a overused bullshit phrase of judgment. I never looked at it as judgment. I looked at it like not being some big super asshole, being mean and looking down on people, you know. Jesse, you will find what you need eventually. There's genetic testing on that now, which is very reasonable. And when you get that, it automatically tells you what medication that you'll respond to biologically. It's worth every damn dime. It was $3,000 10 years ago. Now I think you can get it for a couple $100. If you can't get that paid, I'll pay that for you. Genetic testing. It saves so much time. That's why I didn't want to get out of the second nut house early, because I realized how lucky I got with regard to medication. And the last thing I wanted to do was get discharged, because what it is, it's floating around different. You end up going to a family practitioner who is not a psychiatrist. Bless these people. They have good intentions, but it's like the difference between a guy flying a kite and a guy flying the space shuttle. Psychiatrists are worth every dime. It's so much different than a family practitioner. And, they say, come see me in 2 months, see me in 3 months. Before you know it, it's 2 years and you're still not on the right medication for the right titration. So if you get this genetic testing, it helps skip all that bullshit. It gets right down to the brass tacks. Yeah, when I was living in downtown Chicago, there was a couple of pharmacists, and they said the whole damn neighborhood was on antidepressants. I mean, which is kind of scary, It's like a shotgun approach, Oh, see, Unlabeled mentioned that. Did your insurance cover that? Unlabeled? Did your insurance cover that, or did you have to foot the bill yourself in it? And either way, do you happen to know what the charge for that was? It saves so much time. Insurance companies are paying for it now because of, ultimately it saves them money. No, go ahead, Bill. Let me have it. You can ask me. It's genetic testing. Yeah, they do it for how you respond to medication. They got it down to a science, Danny. There's something to help you, Tiffany, for sure. But it's like we're in the infancy stage. That is interesting, Elaine. Well, great. Thanks for telling me that. Oh, yeah, I didn't leave the house for like a month one time. Tiffany, you shouldn't have to learn to live with the ups and downs. There are ways around that. It's not normal to be that way. I mean, I shouldn't say it's not normal. There are better alternatives out there, $200. There you go. Worth every damn dime. Yeah, $200. I had thought it was down around there by now. I didn't live around Detroit, Bill. I lived up where I live now, West Branch. Nah, let me tell you, I made a ton of money at one time in my life. I kind of lived off the money I made when I was young. And I had left Detroit for Florida because Detroit sucked and it wasn't enough sunshine in the winter. Then I got down there after 5 years and that place sucked. So then I moved to Chicago for 13 years and Chicago sucked. And then I moved to West Branch and the West Branch sucks. I talked to a psychiatrist one time. He said, you lived all these places and they all sucked, didn't they? I said, yep, they did. And he said, you know where you're moving to next? And I said, no, but I can guarantee you it's going to suck. God damn it. I'm lucky I had the money to be able to hang in there as well as I did, man. I was running out of money after a while. I was asset rich, but cash poor. Yeah, that leaving the house, that's a bitch. I know the feeling, man. Oh, Tiffany, that's the way to go for sure. I lived in Florida full time for 5 years. I hated every minute of it. I still have a house down there. Oh, interesting, Alan. Yeah, that's super interesting. Yeah, that's cool. Now, around here where I live, like you can forget it. You're going to go see a community mental health worker, and they're going to have some hookup with the psychiatrist that oversees like 10,000 people. Yeah, it sucks. It's a sad state of affairs. So if you're a working girl down on Michigan Avenue and you're getting Medicaid, you're absolutely screwed. They're going to use like the bare bones inpatient bullshit, and you're going to be out of there in 9 or 10 weeks, which just isn't enough time. Oh, absolutely, Heidi, for sure. Yep. It's genetic testing, Tiffany. Oh man, it sucks, man. It really does, Davey. I mean, anybody that's never been there, you don't really understand it. It's like, what's there to be depressed about? Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. You need to socialize more. It's like, hey, man, you need to be quiet. Yeah, Metro Detroit area is cool. I just ordered. You know what? My whole this is how my whole day. I still keep in touch with my wife, and I'll tell you, she lives with her boyfriend. And to be honest with you, if I didn't have a relationship with her, I think it'd be a problem. I don't want to be with her, but I don't want to be without her. And I've been screwing around with her since 1977, one way or the other. So we keep in touch, and it's worked. I just ordered 20 books today. I mean, I'm a lunatic. I am kind of obsessive compulsive with like books and stuff. Just crazy. I read medical books, oncology. I just ordered a book today on ovulation, uh, MRIs and imaging, dopamine, just crazy shit. I don't know why I do it. I usually freak out like 1 or 2 times a day over something stupid. I'll give you an example. Like last night, I go down to the damn basement. I sold all my antiques and stuff, but the guy hasn't picked them up yet. And I hear a beeping um, a smoke detector when the battery gets weak. Man, I looked all over for that goddamn thing for an hour. It was going absolutely batshit crazy, pissing me off. And I found it today. Yeah, isn't that crazy, Courtney? All that kind of stuff interests me. I found it was a carbon monoxide detector with a battery weak, and it had slid underneath like where my water heater is. But if you heard me bitching and screaming down there, you'd think I am absolutely crazy. As I said, I've asked my neighbors, do you ever hear me like freaking the hell out? Anybody that would have a relationship with me, they would have to be something wrong with them, because I just freak out over the stupidest shit. I mean, you could come and take a sledgehammer to my van, and I wouldn't think anything about it. But man, if you lose the top to my pen or something, hold on to your hats. Yeah, our water's expensive up here too. I'm nuts about like books about I just got a federal case law subscription. I read that. I read about birds. I read about medical stuff. It's nuts. It's crazy. I think I have an anxiety problem. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, believe me, I have my faults big time. I like fooling around with it. I didn't really even want Daisy. I wouldn't have a dog, but it was a rescue. My neighbor got her. I went through that whole thing. And then she had to go into an old folks home, and I just couldn't stand the thought of Daisy going to another home. It's a great dog. I love her. She's super. Yeah, I go absolutely batshit crazy over nothing. Like when I'm in Tim Hortons, I get coffee, and I'll do a live once in a while. People will come up to me and start talking. It's like, hey, this is how I know I have an anxiety problem. It finally gets to the point where if I see somebody reading or doing something, at least I have enough brains to realize that they're trying to get something done. So I'll say, hey, how you doing? And move on. They're reading, they're whatever, they're doing their accounting. People come up to me and start talking. It finally gets to the point about once a month. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, where I say, hey, I don't want to seem rude or like I'm a jerk or something, but I'm trying to get something done here, man. And I can't talk to you any longer. I need to do this. And it kind of, people think I'm a big asshole, but man, I try to be subtle. I have not seen Raven lately, but since I've been down there, but I saw her last time. Yeah, Raven's a sweetheart. So I would say I am antisocial. I mean, basically, if you look at like what interests me, it's just the way it is, man. Like I couldn't do it any different if I wanted to. It's the same stuff I've been doing when I had no viewers. That's why I don't really take any credit for doing anything. It saved me, really, if anything. Yeah, introvert I am, yeah. I'm an older guy now. I'll be 64 next week. Well, actually, this week. Let's see, will it be this week? What's today? Thursday? Well, yeah, I guess I'll be 60. My birthday's this week. And I've got I'm not bragging, man. But, if I was 20 years old and I had 15 supermodels chasing me, that'd be something to brag about. But I'll be 64 next week, and I've got like 10 women from 60, actually from 40 to 79 that just drive me absolutely crazy. One of them buys me like $2,000 worth of presents for Christmas. And I just do everything I can to like be nice. But there's a lot of lonely older women. And they drive me nuts. I mean, in a good way, I guess, but it's a problem, man. I swear to God, Tiffany, I just don't want to be rude to them, but I'm not interested. I joke with people all the time. I say if Miss America showed up to my door at 2:00 in the morning nude, I would lock it and call 911. I'm not interested. And they don't get this. They know better now than to stop over. I don't answer their calls most of the time. They drive me nuts. Believe me, I read every damn self-help book, and I tried everything, man, before. Oh, Stephanie, yeah. You would have changed anyway, Stephanie. So, no, they buy me like 2,000. Yeah, it's just crazy, man. Stuff these women buy me, like these shirts and these coats. I got a whole closet full of stuff that I never even wore, brand new stuff. I don't want this stuff. I don't get them anything. I say, hey, look, let's just be friends, And it's not like I'm hanging out with them. There's one 80-year-old woman who's a sweetheart that I take out to dinner about once or twice a month. She's very nice. I like her company, but that's about it. We were at Big Boy about a month ago, and a waitress comes up. She said, "Oh, how are you two today?" And this 80-year-old says to me, she said, "Would you consider that we're dating?" I said, "Yeah, probably. I guess we're dating. We're not dating, but I don't even anybody that would ask you that would be so far out of the box." Oh yeah, it's not uncommon, Tiffany. I had an old Jewish lady tell me when I was younger that dating was for young people. I believe there's an element of truth to that. It's nothing at all like when you were 18 or 19 or 20 that it is when you're older. I don't have any interest in doing it, to tell you the truth. I mean, if a 25-year-old woman who'd have to be out of her mind was interested in me, I wouldn't be interested. I'm really kind of glad it's worked out this way. Yeah, BJ, if you've been married almost 50 years, so you've went full circle with the different phases of a relationship. The reason you're together now aren't the same things that attracted you to your husband back then, I'll bet. It just changes. The genetic testing, and what they do is they do genetic testing, and they'll tell you what medications you'll respond to. They got this down to a science now. Look it up, cable trucking. It's worth every damn dime. And this one person just stated it costs $200 now, but usually insurance pays for it because it saves the insurance company from, giving you a bunch of stuff that isn't going to work. Yeah. Yep, Stephanie, you know what I'm talking about then. No, I've read a little bit about that, Shaniqua. Ketamine, that's part of the pink cocktail they give animals before they euthanize them. That's what gets them kind of loopy before they give them the fatal dose of sodium pentothal. I've read some positive results on that. I don't know of anybody that has had it or anybody that would administer it, but from the little I've read, it sounded pretty good. You're right, Davey. That is true. Yeah. Yeah, they use Wellbutrin. That's an old antidepressant for weight loss. People that are going to quit smoking. It's a cheap drug too. You can get a whole damn bucket full for $25. Yeah, it's true too, Davey. Yeah. Yeah, everybody says that about me. It doesn't make sense, I guess. I don't seem like a guy that's just kind of a loner. But this is like the kind of like social life I like. Like I go into the Tim Hortons and I say hi to Janie and I tell Kim that she looks like she put on a couple pounds, and Mary that she looked like she lost a couple. And then I go to Walmart and talk to the checkout and tell her I can't believe you're still single. And then I get on the chat board for an hour or two and I talk to people that I'll probably never meet. That's about the extent of my social life, that I like. You wouldn't believe the excuses that I make to get together with people. When you live up north, this is kind of a vacation area. Everybody wants to stop by and visit you. I got more damn excuses lined up. That can happen. If it gets too bad, Jesse, then you need to stop taking it. You shouldn't feel worse. You should feel about the same and hope to get better. But that's not the medication for you if you feel worse. You don't want to like hang in there. That's not how it's supposed to work. Yeah, I do that. Yeah. Yeah, bipolar. If you look at like the DSM-5, it's it's like a hazy relationship. All this stuff seems to like you're not just exactly one, you're four or five, a lot of things. You know what I mean? I mean, with bipolar, you got highs and lows. If you look at bipolar 2, which is what they thought I was to begin with, If there was ever a bullshit diagnosis, that was it. In that stupid book, they claimed that all you had to do was have one experience of a high where you had all sorts of energy and you were up for a few days. What kind of diagnosis is that where you can be suicidal 99% of the time? And because you fit this criteria where you had one high 5 years ago where you shopped for 3 days straight in Las Vegas, that you're bipolar too, it just seemed like total bullshit. Yeah, Davey, you'll figure it out. You got That's the thing. When you're depressed, you don't feel like doing anything, and you really, if you don't have someone in your corner like I did, my estranged wife, that's diligent in trying to get you on the right track. I mean, shit, the success rate is very low. Yeah, Davey, if there's anything I can look up for you or anything, I'd be glad to. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is Davey, sometimes you need a different medication or a higher dosage. What I always hoped was that it would at least get me over the hump. Yeah, Rita, look it up. Genetic testing. They can test you now and tell you what medications you'll respond to, not just antidepressants. It's worth every damn dime. Yeah, that's exactly it, Ronnie. Right. It's body chemistry. Some people get cancer, some people don't. Some people have great teeth, others have tons of cavities. I mean, it's just, you never know how you're going to react to something or respond. Yeah, Davey, I've been there, man. I know. Well, like I said, anxiety and depression go hand in hand. Yeah, it's true, Tiffany. It's kind of true. That's why I couldn't help but think of that when I was interviewing those men down in Detroit. Alcoholics, just nowhere to go, depressed, no support system, no job. I mean, God, man, talk about being screwed. Yeah, sorry about that, Tiffany. I know the feeling, believe me. Oh, good, Davey. Yeah, just keep trying. And try, if you can muster reading about it out, that helps as well. Yeah, I know, Davey. Yep. Here's a screwball, this Ashton. What a nut. Thanks, Virginia. Yeah, BKF, you got lucky. I mean, I can remember thinking you hear these people getting killed in these car accidents. Like, shit, man, if I'd have known if there was a F5 tornado, I'd have driven into that damn thing and put a lawn chair in the middle of it. I was jealous of these people that were getting killed in car accidents. I mean, you don't quite have enough balls to kill yourself, but you're hoping you're not going to be around any longer. Yeah, good for you, Stephanie. Yeah, it's not easy. Yeah, my mom was kind of like that, didn't want to leave the house. Oh, it's interesting unlabeled. Huh. Huh. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Sherry. Yeah, January 4th, that's right. You know, I found that once, at least my opinion, once you're past 10 years old and getting a birthday cake and looking for a bunch of gifts from everybody, birthdays don't seem to mean much. I mean, it seems to me like once you get out of college, uh, it all kind of blends together. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Courtney. I know the feeling, yeah. Oh, that's good, Slab City. Yeah, I thought about that. I mean, I read about that. I even bought helium. There's two people in this town that killed themselves with helium. Believe me, I checked them all out. It's called suicide ideation. There's a difference between doing it and not doing it. And once you like have a couple incidences like that, you're thinking, man, it wasn't as significant to me. If I'd have been 21 and had that stuff happen to me, I thought, oh my God, my life's over. But I was like 61 at the time. My life was pretty much work-wise over anyway. It wasn't like I was worried about some potential employer finding this out on a job application. So it bothered me, but not as much as it would a younger person. Yeah, helium, you can off yourself pretty easy. Yeah, with a bag over your head. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's another thing I catch a lot of shit about is a band. I'm just not into stuff like that, to tell you the truth. Believe it or not, there was a time in my life where I was an absolute fanatic about everything, waxing it, and it was spotless. But my van, I love my van, man. It's all-wheel drive. It's like, doesn't look that great, but I do maintain it, believe it or not. And God, I'm gonna dread the day when I have to get rid of that. I don't like any of the new vehicles. Daisy runs around the back. I could fill it all up with stuff that I hand out. I love my Astro van. I'm curious how many miles I'm going to be able to get out of it. Oh, okay, Rita. Yeah, sorry about that. I know quite a few people who have committed suicide. That's probably true, MK. Yeah. Yeah, I hurt my neck trying to hang myself. Good eye, Alan. All right, 2003 Grand Am. Way to go. I just read an article in the Wall Street Journal the other day where they were saying that um, the middle class is priced out of new vehicles. Good night, Elaine. Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it, Alan? All right, Courtney. Have a good day tomorrow. Good night, Jesse. Hang in there with that. If you don't get a reaction soon, I would probably switch to something else and check out the genetic testing. I keep looking for another Astro van, but all of them, if I knew they were maintained, I wouldn't care what the miles are on. But you never know. Oh yeah, Davey, I've been there, believe me. Hang in there. I'm with you with regard to how you think. Contact me if you're ever really feeling down. Yeah, I looked at helium. I thought that was the best. The problem is it's hard to get the good helium anymore. Yeah, seriously, Dan, Jesse, just hang in there. But how long have you been on what you're taking now, Jesse? Not that long, right? No, it's a webcam that's the front of a condominium yard. I'm not in a vehicle. Yeah, I had a couple Corvettes. Yeah, the transmissions on those Grand Caravans are iffy steppy. Good night, Denise. Yeah, it's kind of true, Frederick. Expectations are what gets people in trouble. $150, that's pretty good. Oh, okay, Steffi, that's cool. Yeah, pretty much, Tiffany. It's hard to expect nothing though, you know? Well, I think I'm going to sign off here, you guys. It was great talking to you tonight. It's fun chat. Thank you. Happy New Year, everybody. That's true, MP. It's hard to get a hold of though. Thank you, Denise. Oh, okay, man. Yeah, you stay there for me, Cable. I hate that place. Everything about it. Good night, Tiffany. All right, Nick, take care. All right, Steffi, take care. All right, Brew. You too. All right, Sexy. Yeah, it's good chat. Thank you. Okay, Sharon. Yeah, thanks, Frederick. Appreciate it. We'll get a sub down there at Captain Nemo's one of these days. Yeah, you too, Ronnie. All right, Virginia. Thank you. All right, Zadie. Good night. I'll talk to you guys. I'll be on tomorrow. All right, Teresa. Take care.